Picture this. Sam is sitting at a desk. A researcher in a lab coat, Dr. Kim, walks up and hands him a test. Sam finishes, looks pleased, and then Dr. Kim says, "Okay, now take a 10-minute break." So Sam goes and sits on a tiny couch and starts scrolling his phone. Meanwhile, 3 others are doing different things. Maya is just sitting there staring at a wall. Leo is reading a book, and Priya is watching a long video on a laptop. 10 minutes later, they all take the test again. And the question is, whose brain actually changed during that break? That experiment really happened. Researchers in Munich did it in 2022, and it is one of the only real scientific tests of what everybody online has been calling brain rot. Now I'm going to walk you through what the science actually says about short-form video and your brain. And I'm going to do it entirely with simple drawings, because honestly it makes the whole thing way more fun to follow. So first, before we even get to the experiments, we need to deal with the biggest myth in this entire conversation. You have probably heard the claim that human attention spans are now shorter than a goldfish. The claim said humans could focus for only 8 seconds, compared with 9 seconds for a goldfish. This stat was everywhere. Time magazine published it, news anchors repeated it. There was just one problem. It was completely made up. The claim originated from a Microsoft report that cited a website called Statistic Brain. When journalists actually tried to track down the original sources listed on that website, they discovered those sources did not exist. The numbers were fabricated for both humans and goldfish. So we can throw that factoid right in the garbage. But that does not mean there is nothing going on. A researcher named Gloria Mark has spent over 2 decades trying to measure how long people stay focused on a single task. Back in 2003, she got permission to observe employees at an investment firm. Picture Gloria with a clipboard following an office worker around, clicking a stopwatch every time he switches tasks. What she found was that people spent about 2.5 minutes on one thing before jumping to something else. Fast forward to 2012, and she installed tracking software on workplace computers. Now, people were switching every 75 seconds. Today it is even shorter, closer to 40 seconds. Here's the tricky part though. Does this mean our brains have gotten worse at focusing, or does it just mean there are way more things competing for our attention now? Think about trying to read a book while your phone is buzzing, your laptop has a notification, a tablet is glowing next to you, and a smartwatch is vibrating on your wrist. Of course you switch tasks more often. There is more stuff pulling at you. Measuring how often people switch does not tell us whether the actual hardware of our brains has degraded. It might just mean the environment has gotten noisier. And honestly, when researchers give people standardized attention tests in a lab, the results are surprising. Adults have actually been getting better at these tests over the past 3 decades across 32 countries. Children perform about the same overall, though their style has shifted. Kids today go faster, make more errors, but complete more items. So the picture is way messier than the headlines suggest. Okay, so now let us talk about what makes short-form video different from everything else. This is where the restaurant analogy comes in, and I love this one. In a regular restaurant, Sam walks in, sits down, gets a menu, picks a dish, and eats it. That is traditional media. You browse, you choose, you consume. In a second restaurant, Sam sits down, opens his mouth, and a little robotic arm places a tiny bite of food on his tongue. He does not choose. He either swallows or spits it out. Based on how quickly he chews, the robot adjusts what it serves next. But it also throws in surprise flavors because each bite is so small that even a weird one does not matter. There is always another one coming. That second restaurant is TikTok. It is Reels. It is YouTube Shorts. The whole magic of these platforms is that they remove your choices. An internal document from TikTok that leaked through legal proceedings actually said it directly. Their success comes from limiting user agency. Fewer things feel like your decision. The experience is like being carried along a conveyor belt of tiny screens, each one flashing for 2 seconds before the next appears. And this is not just happening on one app. The numbers are staggering. Reels accounts for over half the time people spend on Instagram. YouTube Shorts was pulling over 200 billion daily views. Every major platform copied this format because it works incredibly well at capturing attention. Now here's where the actual experiments get really interesting. Researchers wanted to know if scrolling through short-form video actually makes specific cognitive abilities worse, and they found 2 areas where it does. The first test involves what psychologists call cognitive reflection. It uses trick questions like this one. A bat and a ball cost $1.10 in total. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? Your gut screams 10 cents, but the correct answer is 5 cents. Getting these right requires you to override your autopilot instinct and actually think carefully. Researchers at a university in Beijing had 72 college students either spend 30 minutes scrolling TikTok or 30 minutes reading. Then they gave everyone the trick question test. The TikTok group did worse. But here's where it gets really fascinating. They ran a follow-up study where some people swiped through short videos normally, and others watched the exact same clips stitched together into one long video. It did not matter whether the content was cute animals or science experiments. What mattered was the swiping. The groups that swiped through a feed scored about 12% worse on the analytical thinking test compared to those who watched the same content as a single video. The second test is about something called prospective memory. This is your ability to remember to do something you plan to do, like remembering to pick up groceries or join a meeting or take your medication. The Munich researchers designed a clever experiment. They had people do a word recognition task where they pressed one button for real words and another for fake words. But there was a hidden task within the task. If certain color words appeared like blue, purple, or green, they had to press different specific keys instead. That second layer is the prospective memory test. Can you remember your secondary intention while doing the main task? People did this test, then took a 10-minute break doing one of four things: just resting, scrolling Twitter, watching a YouTube video, or scrolling TikTok. Then they took the test again. The basic word recognition performance was the same across all groups after the break, but the embedded prospective memory task, remembering to press different keys for the color words, showed a significant drop in one group only: the TikTok group. Not the Twitter scrollers, not the YouTube watchers, not the resters, only Sam and the others who scrolled short-form video. And it gets even more specific. Researchers in the UK replicated this study and added a twist. They had one group scroll shorts with unlimited swipes and another group that could only swipe 10 times. The limited swipe group showed no drop in performance. The unlimited swipers did. So what is actually happening here? It seems like the mindless, unlimited swiping is the key ingredient. It is not that the content is bad. It is not even that short videos are inherently harmful. It is something about the act of repeatedly swiping, of letting the algorithm make every decision, of putting your brain into pure autopilot mode for extended periods. This connects back to a really profound idea from the psychologist William James, who wrote way back in 1890 that your experience is defined by what you choose to pay attention to. Without that selective interest, consciousness becomes a gray blur. The agency part matters. When you choose what to watch, your brain is engaged. When the feed chooses for you, and all you do is swipe or not swipe, you are training your brain to be passive. And the research suggests this is not just about your intentions getting lost. It might also push creators into autopilot. When the format rewards the most instantly grabby content, everyone starts making the same thing. Now, the big caveat here is that this research is still young. The sample sizes are small. The lab tasks are artificial. Nobody has done a long-term study asking what happens if you scroll TikTok for 2 hours every night before bed for a year. Does your prospective memory get permanently worse, or does it only dip right after a scrolling session? We do not know yet, but the early signals are worth paying attention to. The pattern across these studies is consistent. It is not about the content being dumb or smart. It is about the interface design that strips away your choices and rewards passive consumption. The swiping matters. The endlessness matters. The removal of your decision-making matters. So what should you actually do with this information? Here's my take. You do not need to panic and delete every app, but maybe be intentional about it. Set limits on how much you swipe. Watch things you actually chose, rather than whatever the algorithm serves. And if you are going to consume short content, maybe watch a curated playlist rather than an infinite feed. Sam deserves a brain that is not on permanent autopilot, and so do you. If this changed how you think about your own scrolling habits, leave a comment telling me one thing you're going to try differently. And if you want to see more science breakdowns like this, hit subscribe because we've got a lot more coming. I will see you in the next one.